Hi bag makers, Lisa here from Andrie Designs. Today I'm giving you a behind the scenes look at my sewing machine setup, including why I use two machines at once and how that helps me sew more efficiently. Whether you sew with one machine or five, I hope you'll pick up a few tips as we go. And I'd love to know, do you use more than one machine in your sewing space? Let us know in the comments below. Let's go. So this is my main sewing table. This is where all the magic happens, where I create beautiful bags and other sewn items, and I use my Bernina B350 for most of that work. So I usually always have a pair of snips and my little sewing gauge there. The sewing gauge is great for flicking the thread out when you first pull up your loop from your bobbin. Snips obviously to trim my threads, and I have my lovely little repurposed or upcycled Makona coffee jar there for my scraps and offcuts and rubbish, which I then empty out periodically. I love my magnetic pin holders, lifesaver. And behind that I've got my original handy hold all basket, which is our wonderful pattern for newsletter subscribers, absolutely free. Make sure you sign up to our list and you get a free copy of this. It also has square baskets in the pattern as well, and I use that just for my odds and sods. So I've got seam rippers, I've got my hump jumper there, I've got some spare thread, sewing gauge, I've just got all sorts of bits and bobs, and some needles in the end there for tucking in my threads after top stitching. On my windowsill I have my beautiful teapot, thanks to my mum, my little sewing machine teapot, and yes, the lid comes off, very cute. That sits on my windowsill. And then behind here I have another pin holder. I usually have one on my cutting table and one on this table, and then I have the threads I'm using for my current project along with their coordinating buttons, and I'll explain that in the threads and bobbins video shortly. So that's my main cutting table. In the drawers I have bits and bobs. This is the main drawer I use, and I've just got spare sewing stuff. So I've got my spare machine feet, spare needles, spare glue sticks, spare rotary blades. That's just the stuff you don't need very often, but it's there for when you do need it. So that is my main table that I use and where I create my bags. I've recently just added the second table in the corner, and that is for my second machine, my spare machine, which I use mainly for basting, tacking seams together, your draft stitch before you do your final stitch, those sorts of things. So that sits over there, got a pair of snips there and a light because it's in the corner if I'm doing sewing at night. So that's just an extra space. It's great. I can have both machines running. Just makes things a little bit more efficient at times, especially if I'm under a bit of time pressure, and they sit nicely together in my sewing room and allow me to move seamlessly from one machine to the other. They're both covered by made for me sewing machine covers, which I love, keeps the dust off, keeps them protected. And of course, if one of my wolfies wants to come and join me for sewing, I have a little bed in here for them as well. Of course, right? It's what any good dog owner would do. And that's my current machine setup. Two machines, two tables, and a system that really works for me. If you've got a multi-machine setup or even just a great tip for making one machine do double duty, share it in the comments. And if you've enjoyed this video, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss the next part of our sewing room series. Until next time, happy sewing!